They're foolproof. I am that fool, and I'm pretty clumsy and not a professional at all. Hi everyone. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you all 6 of Charlotte Tilbury's new Rock and Kohl eye pencils. These have been reformulated and they're now no longer in Kohl, but they are in super soft blendable kajal, long lasting and really rather lovely with 4 new colours. Now, as you can probably tell, I'm wearing a blue colourway today. I've actually got the Sapphire Nights eye pencil on, and I've actually put on a bit of the old denim dimensions on. You don't have to wear eyeshadow with these because they're so blendable. You can mix and match. They're really, really great. I will show you all the swatches. You'll be able to see how they perform on my mature eyes, and you'll see if they are for you. I think they may just be the best kajal eye pencils out there, and I can already see myself wanting more colours, so please watch on. Let's take it from the bottom. We've got Bedroom Black, which is a true blackest black. Then we've got Barbarella Brown, a soft mid-toned brown. So these 2 were the originals. Then we've got 4 new shades. The first new shade is also a matte like the brown and the black, and it's Fig Smolder, which is a deep claret. That's that one there. So lovely. And then we've got 3 new metallics. We've got the metallic Smoky Bronze, which is a golden bronze brown. And then we've got this one, Hypnotic Peacock, a jewel-toned emerald green. And then finally, we've got metallic Sapphire Nights, a jewel-toned bright blue. They are particularly lovely. These 4 new shades are glorious. They really are. And those 3 metallics, they really are metallic. They're lovely. They haven't got that really bright metallic, but they've got that shimmer. I mean, she calls them very much shimmering, and they really are, that's the way I would describe them. They are shimmering. They're really, really lovely. So taking my Refa 14, I'm just going to smudge a little bit of the bronze shade just on my lid in an extremely rough line. Now, I've done this a lot with this pencil and this particular colour actually, and I really like it. It's just so easy and idiot proof, so it's something I really appreciate. Just with the Refa 14, I'm just smudging it about inexpertly as always. So here we go. That's all I do. A little bit in the crease. Now, it comes with a smudger, but I'm just much more of a brush girl. I have used the smudger on my other eye, which I'll show you in a sec, just for the lower lid, and I found that really easy. It's just that for the actual eyelids, I just find it a lot easier to use a brush, just because that's what I'm used to. And it makes it, I suppose it makes it more eyeshadow-like in terms of the technique, although that sounds quite pompous coming from me, let's be honest. My extremely amateurish technique. Okay, so that's that nice smoky effect. And now onto the Hypnotic Peacock, which is this lovely green. Now I'm just going to put a little bit of that on there. Let me just show you on my hand so you can really see what that's. Can you see the metallic effect? Yeah, I think you can when I do that. There we go. Yeah, you can see it there. I like the way there's peacock in the name because it has got that sheen that peacocks have. I mean, not that I've got them in my garden. I'm just saying I have seen them out in their natural habitat. They're very smooth. And what else? They don't skip. Now, my eyelids, as I keep saying, they're very dry and they are crepey. And there's no skipping. I mean, I'm going backwards and forth because I want to get as much pigment on there as possible. But it's not skipping at all. It's just lovely. I've done quite a thick line because I quite like this look. Now, I haven't done that very nicely. I'm just going to correct it a little bit. Let's see if I've got a fine brush, and then I can just clean up with a bit of concealer. So I've cleaned up and I've just put a little bit of the bronze just on my lower lid, and I'm now going to just use the smudger, which the smudgers are really soft. They haven't got that synthetic drag, which I really appreciate. Yeah, they're soft, but they're firm, but the texture is soft, so it's easy. Okay, so shall I put some black in the waterline? I think I should. so I can show you. Let's do it in the green. So here we are, very intimately. On this side, I have put Fig Smolder, and I'll tell you what I put on top. I used the neutral palette, which is, what's it called? Super Neutrals, this one here. And all I did was I used a little bit of the central colour on my lid, and then a couple of the, well, actually it was the Diamond Dimension, the first Diamond Dimension on the lid, and then I put the Fig Smolder as an eyeliner, both above and below the eye, but of course nothing in the waterline on this occasion. So that's what that looks like. Now, the Fig Smolder for me is best used as an eyeliner. When I tried it as smudging it and using it as an eyeshadow, it's not very flattering on me. It just looks a bit like I'm upset or I've rubbed my eyes that many times. But as an eyeliner with this eyeshadow palette, which is absolutely not my favourite of the 6. I've now got 5 out of the 6, and this is the one I use the least. However, it's great with the Fig Smolder for me, so that's how I've been using it. And then on this side, as you saw me use the bronze pencil as an eyeshadow, and then I also used the emerald liner, which I really, really like. So that's what that looks like, and I've put more of the bronze underneath, and then the black in the waterline. So that's what that looks like. And here are the two together, so I'll close my eyes. Now, what I would say is they smudge brilliantly. It's all really good. The claims that Charlotte Tilbury makes is that they last for 28 hours. I have worn them really comfortably for 12 hours and had no difficulty. In terms of the waterline, she says it lasts up to 10 hours. When I dry my waterline and I apply it properly, sort of 2 coats, I think I get realistically a good 8 hours. Now, I am in hay fever season at the moment, so I am, if not sneezing, then my eyes are slightly more watery. But actually, it's lasted really well in my waterline, and I'm quite surprised. In terms of the other claims, I'm just reading. It says no skipping or drag. I think that's absolutely right. And as I said, I've got very dry and crepey lids. Highly pigmented, yes. And they say that it's ultra creamy kajal, which it is. It does feel super, super creamy. And in fact, I bought all 6 for review purposes, and honestly, I think the one that's probably going to get the least use is the black, only because I don't always put eyeliner in my waterline, just because it takes a bit of time, and also I tend to definitely need something going on underneath my eyelids, otherwise my eyes just really shrink, and I don't always have the time or the inclination to do that. The other thing that they say is it's waterproof and smudge proof, and I really think they are waterproof because, as I say, I have been sneezing and they have absolutely lasted. Now, I think it's a worthwhile comparison to talk about the Victoria Beckham kajal liners, which I have had mixed success with. I own 2. Now, there's loads of colours. I wrote down how many, and I'm not that surprised, but there's 20 colours now. I mean, that's a lot. I've not been tempted to buy more, only because while I find these long lasting and I do find them easy to apply and so on, they're not as easy as these ones are. They're a bit more work. So because they're so creamy, I find them quite difficult to control. Now, with the smudger, which you, again, like the Charlotte Tilbury, you do get a smudger on the end. It's actually not as soft, firstly, and also the product itself is so soft it's harder to control. But I thought it was a worthwhile comparison just to show you. This is I've got 2 colours. So I've got ash and I've got cinnamon. Now, ash is what they call a rich graphite grey. It's that one over here, and it's matte. The cinnamon is a warm shimmer brown. It's a particularly lovely colour, but it is harder to work with. I should also say I don't find these as long lasting as I would like, which I think is in the end what's given me pause for buying more. Whereas the Charlotte Tilbury are really long lasting. So in other words, the Charlotte Tilbury aren't as supremely creamy and soft as these, but they're actually in the end, in my opinion, easier to work with and longer lasting. While I don't get any skipping or drag with Victoria Beckham, they're so creamy, it's just that bit more effort to work with. I think Charlotte Tilbury has definitely found that sweet spot, And I, for one, would like to see more colours, because when I see the colours that Victoria Beckham now has, and I really looked at all of them, they're so tempting, but as I said, that's what's stopping me. The price difference is they are £32 as against £25 on the Charlotte Tilbury. The difference is with, I have to say also with Victoria Beckham, you do get a sharpener, whereas you don't with the Charlotte Tilbury. And for £8, as I found the other day when I ordered these, you can get the Charlotte Tilbury sharpener that does the large and the small pencil. I only bought it actually just to tip me over with everything else that I was buying into the next day delivery. But I'm glad I've got it, because as I said, with 6 pencils, you need more sharpeners. So I feel that for the price, I should have got a pencil sharpener, but there we go. You pay your money, you make your choice. So 20 colours with Victoria Beckham. I think they're a bit trickier to work with. What I should say with the Victoria Beckham, I always have to put either an eyelid primer on or a bit of powder just to slow down that creaminess. Whereas with the Charlotte Tilbury, today you saw me, I did not put anything on my eyelids at all. And it lasts and lasts and lasts. So that's just, it's another step you don't have to do, particularly in the summertime. I think where these are going to come into their own, where you want something, well, certainly when I want something quick and easy, I think that's a really good thing. The other comparison that I wanted to point out to you is the Lisa Eldridge. Now I've written it down here. These are also Kohl as opposed to kajal. However, they are, she calls them a gel eye pencil, that's fine. I only have one colour, and I have got in ground coffee because I do like a brown pencil. So that's what this is like here. Now, I would say that while Lisa Eldridge says they get 16 hours of wear, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be that long. I think I'm getting a good 10 or 11 hours of wear. It's much more of a smudgy look. You're not getting the same definition that I feel I can achieve with a Charlotte Tilbury. I don't mean that as a criticism actually with a Lisa Eldridge, simply because for me it's a different look. It's more of a smudgy look, and that's fine. Whereas with the Charlotte Tilburys, you can see you can get very much a defined line that stays put. With the Lisa Eldridge, it's more of a smudgier, smoky, smouldering look. But she's only got 6 shades anyway, but I'm just saying it's a different look. It's still a lovely look, but it's just a different look. The other thing I would say is the YSL Lines Liberated. These are not Kohl. They are just, I think they're just gel eyeliners. You do get 24 hours of wear. You can't smudge them and blend them out the way you can obviously with the Charlotte Tilbury or indeed the Lisa Eldridge, and certainly the Victoria Beckham. However, I thought it was worth pointing out, simply because if you're somebody who's actually just going to use them as an eyeliner, then these will give you that definition. They just don't have the same softness, but my goodness, they last. I'm a real fan of these. The colours are they're not really exactly the same. This is the brown, which I've just drawn there. And there's a lovely bronze, which I know I've spoken about before, but is worth comparing to Charlotte Tilbury's bronze. Here we go. That's there, because it has got a similar metallic finish to it. But as I said, what you're not going to get is the blendability in that way, although the YSL does come with let me show you, a lovely long brush, which, as they say, gives you the ability to elongate your wing and to stretch out, their words, not mine, stretch out the line. So it does give you that. You have got a tool at the end of it, but as I said, it's not a Kohl pencil. So as I picked these up, I realized it's so clear which ones I'm using the most: the green, the blue, and the fig. These are the ones that are starting to get shorter and shorter as I use my pencil, because they're getting the tip blunt. These are really worth a go. I do appreciate you spending time with me just to look at this review and to see what you think. I mean, I think these are great for summer as well, because, well, frankly, they're just portable and easy. And with the smudger, you can just use that, or as I said, just one brush. They're foolproof. I am that fool, and I'm pretty clumsy and not a professional at all. And it's just easy to get a really nice effect. She has knocked it out of the park again. Charlotte strikes again. She's done it. She's absolutely done it. Thank you so much for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't already and give me a thumbs up. And I really look forward to meeting you in the next video. Bye.